And joining me now with reaction are Fox News political analyst Juan Williams, Fox News contributor Liz Cheney. Guys, welcome back to the program.
Good to be with you,
here. Thanks, John. All
right, there is a Pew Research Center survey that came out today, Liz, and I first saw it in Newsmax. It shows that 66% of the American people believe there are very strong or strong conflicts presently in this country between the rich and the poor. 47% of all Americans do not pay any federal income tax. The president has been stoking these fires using class warfare with regularity. Obviously, it must be working, no?
Well, I think it's clearly working for him in an attempt to secure his base. And I think it's basically, you know, all he's got in many ways. He doesn't have a record that he can run on, that he can say to the American people, here's all I've accomplished and here's why you ought to elect me again. I think it's really cynical and I think it's crass, and I think the American people are going to see through it. At the same time, I don't support and I can't condone the kinds of attacks that have been launched on Governor Romney. I'm not signed on with any of these campaigns, but, you know, I think that as Republicans, we ought to be explaining to the American people that we stand for strong private sector growth, that we know that jobs are going to come from the private sector, and we shouldn't be attacking Republicans who've worked in the private sector.
All right, I agree with you on that point, but this is a 19 percentage point jump, Juan. And nobody denies the president uses class warfare rhetoric all the time. He's dividing the country, and it's a pretty ugly division. Instead of the president fostering the idea that freedom, opportunity, society versus, you know, the nanny state that he's building on top of our children and grandchildren with $5 trillion in debt, it's a pretty ugly way to gain votes, isn't it?
But, Sean, I think that let's put the politics aside for just a second and say that I think the American people aren't dumb. They know that there is more income inequality in this country than ever. And they understand that the executives now are making 400 times what the lowest worker in the corporation's working, and they understand that as some of these, you know, equity groups and venture capital groups, they put tremendous debt on these companies and then take their profits, and in some cases don't care when the company crashes and people lose jobs. Believe me, that's an anger that is fueling not only Occupy Wall Street, it's fueling the Tea Party. They didn't want Wall Street bailed out.
Hey, well, wait a minute, Juan. I didn't want Wall Street bailed out. I didn't want insurance companies. Hang on a second. I didn't want insurance companies bailed out or financial institutions. The problem is what the president's doing in his rhetoric, Liz, is he pivots. And he turns this rich versus poor, the have versus the have-nots, and rather than creating an economic environment where everybody can be successful, it's not a zero-sum game, he pits one American against each other. And we see Democrats use this technique, if you will, every election. This time, though, it's up 19 points since President Obama started.
Well, look, I think you've clearly got a situation where this economy, which is now the Obama economy, is not where it ought to be. People are hurting. They understand that they're hurting. But, you know, look at the speech that the president's chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors gave today on the topic of income equality. It took him 9/10 of the speech to get to the part where he says, here's what we should do about it. And his solution is we need more Obamacare and we need more government stimulus. I mean, it's just a perfect example of the fact that this administration is out of solutions. They don't fundamentally understand how a free market system works, and they certainly can't be counted on to do anything differently if the American people, God forbid, give them a second term.
Yeah.
I think that's where the Republicans really have to stand up and say, look, we know we need the private sector making these decisions. We don't need more Solyndras. We don't need more stimulus. We don't need more debt put onto the shoulders of our kids and grandkids.
You know, this is the pivotal point. What does it say about a president that is so desirous of re-election, to hold on to Air Force One, the White House, as Marine One, as Helicopter One, that he would ignite a class war and fan the politics of envy and division? What does that say about him? It seems to me it seems to me the guy that ran in 2008 on hope and opportunity and yes we can, that guy's long gone. This is a whole different candidate, a whole different person that can't run on his record.
Before you begin beating up on President Obama, let me ask you, aren't you worried that your fellow Republicans are pursuing this line of argument against
I've been critical
against
of it.
him? Okay,
but here's my question,
It doesn't
though.
make it right, Juan.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, hey, hold on. You guys right there, you're all warming up. You're protecting Mitt Romney. But the fact is that Republicans and a lot of populism and a lot of Republicans who are saying, you know, we got pushed out. We didn't like the Wall Street
Juan, I have one last question.
Why is this? That's not President Obama.
Here's the question. The average 47% of Americans don't pay enough. Those that pay get beaten up by the President of the United States. I want a number. How much is enough in the minds of a liberal? What percentage of one's income, after state, local, federal, property, sales taxes, should one be allowed to keep in a country whose principles are based on freedom, equal opportunity, not necessarily equal results? Give me a percentage.
Well, I happen to think it should be about 35%. I think that's what everybody says.
I'm paying over 50.
But let me just tell you, you keep picking on people. You say 47% don't pay taxes.
They don't pay federal income taxes.
A lot of this, Sean, is seniors, the elderly, people who don't earn money, people who are living on retirement income and pensions, and they're the ones, and now you want to beat them up for not paying taxes, but you don't have that attitude towards the big boys on Wall Street.
Juan, that's just not true.
Go ahead, Liz.
Juan, the way that we can do the very best for the middle class that's hurting in this country, for the people, 8.5% unemployment, is to get the economy growing again. And I think you would be pretty hard-pressed to find many people outside this president's economic inner circle who believe that more government spending, taking on more debt, is the solution to creating jobs. It simply won't work, and anybody who thought it might work has been disabused of that by the last 3 years of the Obama economy.
Well,
Liz,
you know what? I don't think Gordon Gekko and this vulture economy is anything anybody, Republican or Democrat's, going to salute. You guys are going to have to deal with it.
I guess we're going to hear that a lot. Get ready. Gordon Gekko. Gordon Gekko. I can hear it. All right. Juan Williams, Liz Cheney. Good to see you. All the best to your dad, by the way, Liz. Thank you for being with us. And coming up, straight ahead, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley.